everybody, I'm Fabien and welcome back to the channel on this insanely sunny day in England. So this week I'll be showing you how to change the air filter on your Yamaha FZ6. All you'll need is an air filter, 2 Allen keys to help you lift the tank, and a screwdriver. This message should be exactly the same whether you have an S1 model, an S2 model or a naked model. So why is it important to change your air filter? Well, put simply, your bike runs off petrol and air, and the air filter stops your bike from absorbing little contaminants into your system. And over time, this can get blocked up and dirty, so it will slowly run less and less efficiently. You'll end up using more fuel and you'll have less power. So it's worth changing these out. I like to change my air filter every 4,000 miles or every 12 months, depending what comes first. Generally, that's the same interval that I like to change the oil. But overall, it's good to just give it a good inspection. Get in there and have a look. If it's clogged up, this one isn't, change it out. If you're looking for the parts, I'll put a link down in the description, but this is a high flow Filtro HFA4612. These high flow Filtro filters are fantastic. They've never let me down, really do the job. I've considered upgrading to a washable one to save a bit of money, but they tend to let the air flow more easily into your bike, which can be a good thing, but I'm a strong believer that if you do that, you need to do some work on the mapping system in your engine to compensate for the additional air that's running through your bike. And I'm not really interested in doing that right now. So I stick with the filters like this that are just replaceable and are more like the OEM filters that come with the bike. So step one is to lift up the tank to gain access to the airbox. So for me, that involves lifting up the seat and then removing these bits of plastic if you have them on your bike. You then can go in and undo the screws at the top of the tank. That will allow you to pivot it upwards. Once all those little bits and bobs are done, you can get the tank lifted up and looking like this. I like to use a bungee to keep it supported and also unclip this wire here because I feel there's just a little bit too much tension on it. Now with access to the airbox, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws to undo to gain access to the air filter which is inside. With the screws out, you can now lift off the top of the airbox. And now pull out the air filter. Now with the air filter out, you can give it a quick inspection and you may find that it's quite clean, or you may want to go ahead and change it anyway. Let's have a look. So here we are, side-by-side comparison. The old filter versus the new one. And I've got to say, it may be a case where there's no need to replace it. This one is looking very good. Slightly more mangled, the fins here, where the paper is. There's a bit of dust in there, but you know, this is what it's there for. It's not terribly dirty. Actually, when I look deep in there, you probably can't see it. There is quite a lot of pollen and so on. But this is really not a bad air filter. I've had a lot worse in my time. However, these are not expensive and it is quite a quick job, so I am going to stick the new one in. Now what's brilliant about the design of this airbox that Yamaha have made and the design of these air filters is that it's actually physically impossible to put it in the wrong way. So this is the correct way with the paper facing forward and the metallic mesh here next to the air intakes. Say accidentally I wanted to put it in this way. I go like that. It will go in, but now the shape of the interior of the top end of the airbox is rounded, and here there are corners, so it just won't close. And then let's say if I wanted to put it the correct way again with the paper facing forwards, but I wanted to put it upside down, once again, because the top end of the box is rounded and these are cornered, it won't close again. So it's actually not worth worrying about. It is physically impossible to put these in the wrong way. But quickly, just to clarify once again, if anyone's unsure, you want the red paper section of the filter facing forwards and the rounded section of the filter at the top. So once that's in, you can start the reassembly process. So stick the airbox lid back on top, make sure the grooves line up and slide it on. You can then start popping the screws back into the airbox. I pop them all in by hand and then tighten up in a crisscross fashion. A little tip I have for tightening these up and making sure you don't screw up the plastic even further in the airbox is rotate them backwards slightly till you hear a little click. Then you know it's to the top of the thread that's been self-tapped by the screw, and then you can start going in. These screws do not need to be super tight, you just need to make sure the seal around the bottom here is nice and snug. It's now time to put the tank down, plug this back in if you have released it like I have, and then you can now release and drop the tank back down again. Put the Allen heads back in to secure the tank. And of course, like me, if you took these pieces of plastic out, the inner fairing, put those back in too. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please give this a thumbs up if you found it useful, and of course smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.